Another thing I wanted to do, kind of as an optional thing, is to add a camera. So here I have mounted a camera right on the front of the cab. So if I can get this to focus, set it down. Try to focus in on that. You can see I cut just a little square hole in the window and fit that in there, and then it turns out this cab has a little space there. So I pulled this cab out, brought that wire through, then I'm going to cut a hole through the back there and mount that back up. I'll show you how that works. The Pi Zero has a small ribbon cable that goes into it, unlike the standard Pi. So I couldn't find a long version of the adapter cable, and so I've got this little device which I'll put on the bill of materials to allow for adding multiple ribbon cables together. It's an extender for either the display or the camera, the CSI or DSI. So got this thing here, so I've got a standard cable that is long enough. One thing I like about having this is I can mount this. I was going to mount this where this old speaker was, and if I wanted to take apart things and not get to the camera, I can just disconnect it here and take all this off. So it gives me a nice place to connect and disconnect. I'm also considering just taking all these wires and putting a single Molex plug to make it a bit easier to take it apart if I wanted to, but still debating whether I want to do that. Now, one thing to note on this is that most of the time when you do ribbon cables, the connector side goes towards the PCB, the printed circuit board. But in this particular thing, it's wired opposite. So you want the connectors to be up, and the back of it is towards the boards. That's opposite. So I didn't get that correct at first and couldn't figure out why the camera wasn't working, but finally looked at the wiring and realized that the connectors are at the top. So that's something to look for. And once this is up and running, then I can show you what it looks like. I have by default the camera software running so that you can go right to the URL that is to the Pi, and then can't focus in on that. The URL is for the Pi that I have, and if you go to 8080, then it will give you this generic web page. I'm using this thing called MPEG Streamer, and then you can use various stream mechanisms to just get a stream location. You can stream it to something else, or use JavaScript to get the video, Java, or get the stream itself. So once you see that, I'll move the camera around a little bit. So let's see, this is the camera, and now I've got a camera videoing the camera. You can see a bit of a delay with me speaking and showing it on the screen. So that is just coming right off the camera from the front of this. So I'm hoping that once I get this up and running, I was considering kind of like what you do with a drone, and you have your controller with a small video camera above it. I thought maybe just get a little attachment off the bottom of this thing that holds a phone, and you can have the display showing what the cab sees for the digger live while you're using the controller. So that's the plan. So I'll show you how that all works, and once I get this finished, connected and so forth, I'll show you the finished product there and also show you the software.